Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to fly the Flight Sim Studios Boeing 727 freighter once again. We are standing in Leipzig in the DHL livery and we are going to make a quick trip down to Munich. Now, on the last one we flew it using conventional navigation as it would have been flown in the 60s and 70s. Today we are going to fly it probably the way more flight simmers are going to fly it, using a lot of help from the artificial flight engineer and using the GTN 750Xi. So that is going to be like the version I guess most of you are going to actually use from the airplane. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We will start down here and we've got our crew manager located down here, and as you can see I am going to select pretty much everything automatic over here except for the airspeed bug. I will have the flight engineer do the rest, and we'll start with the pre-flight check, please. Right, the engineer is starting to get our airplane set up, and in the meantime we are going to go down here and we will start with a bit of a setup as well. So let's go into the pre-flight and download the latest SimBrief update, and we are going to load that stuff up right over here, and we will also start loading up our fuel down here, and then we can go into GSX and request boarding, please, or well, we should probably rather call it request loading. We don't need to board any crew, we are on board already, as you can obviously see. Alright, so that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and start doing our own check up here. So we'll start with a light test. Which is looking good. Our GTN is starting up and we'll have that thing run up automatically down here. In the meantime, let's go ahead and do our panel check. So, starting up on the...
Task system test OK.
Thank you. Starting up on the main panel, altimeter can go to 1011, which is our current QNH. We'll also pre-select the speed bug down here. Standby altimeter. Oh, sorry, standby ADI. I don't know why I keep that calling altimeter, probably because the altimeter is right below it, and because I'm mentally already fast forwarding to it. So that one's set down here. The initial climb probably going to be 7-0, we'll just pre-select that already, and on the right hand side the FO's altimeter got to be set up as well. So 1011, and we'll also get the speed bug into place. Okay then, overhead panel is mostly going to be done by the flight engineer, not much to do for us. No smoking on, fasten belts off, and the navigation light can come on. Transponder, standby 2000. Here we go. Okay then, down into the GTN then. So, flight plan, and I suppose we could just import it from SimBrief, but that would be a little bit boring, so let's go ahead and do that stuff ourselves. Starting in Leipzig, I'll tell you what, delete the entire flight plan, and here we go. So, gonna start in Leipzig, and our departure is going to be off runway 26 left, and we've got the Golas to Sierra departure today. So Golas to Sierra, down here it is, and load the departure. Alright, from Golat, load airway, Tango 202 towards Alozo. Load that in, then we continue via Tango 703 towards Lular. So load airway, Tango 703, and we're looking for Lular. Here it is. Load. And from Lular we are going to fly via Tango 105 to Landu, and from there we'll join the approach to Munich. Okay, load that one up at destination down here, and that's gonna be Munich. And load procedures, we have got the ILS approach runway 26, well, most likely runway 26 left, and we'll take the transition from Landu. Here we go. Right, load approach, thank you. So for the comms, 122.8 going to go active in number 1. We'll monitor 1 and 2. Nav8 setup can remain automatic down here, and we can remove that Munich up here. So we've got Landu, V6 Landu, and then the approach. Alright, that stuff is looking good to me. Then let's go right back to the top of the flight plan. And we'll go ahead and grab ourselves some charts. So, departing Leipzig. Loading, thank you, taxi chart, and... oh boy. Yeah, if you click too far to the left, you basically hit the click spot to stow the map. They should fix that click spot over the charts over here. Gotta click on the right side, and here we go. That is what we're looking for. Okay, so we gotta take that one, and then we will also go ahead and take a set chart here. GoLAT to Sierra, on-off departure, here it is. Initial climb, flight level 70, and that's what we've set up. For the waypoint, straight at Dizan, left Delta Papa 551, and then GoLAT, and in here we've got Dizan 551 GoLAT. Okay, looking good. Alright. So that good stuff is done. Then we can stow our charts again. Quick look outside the window. Looks like the cargo loading is finished already, isn't it? What's GSX saying? Yeah, loading is complete. That's quite awesome. That was fast. I like it though. So then let's get on with our performance. So, refueling is finished as well, 143.8. So, takeoff, Leipzig, 26 left, takeoff runway full, flaps 15. We'll update the weather over here. And that is looking good. So, set EPR and trim, set the takeoff speeds. And what I will do is, I'm just going to change a couple of those speed bugs here. 210 is our clean speed. Like that, and we do have another one here. So 125, 127. Gonna include a 180 bug for our speed retraction. For our speed, for our flap retraction as well. Then speed bug 137, V2 plus 10, and that's looking good. Takeoff thrust is already selected. Even though those numbers do seem a little bit off to me at the moment, if I compare those to the manual numbers from the flight manual, then I do get different numbers there. But, okay, we'll just leave it at that. Alright, and that's our setup done. So, trim 5.25, I believe it set that by itself. Let's just have a look down here. Yeah, it set 5 units. 5.25 is more like this. Anyway, both are going to be good. So let's complete our pilot stuff. Guard frequency 1 to 1.5 going in here. We don't really need any nav8 setup here, so can just leave it like that. It's going to be an on-off departure, and that's it. Okay, are you ready for the briefing? So the aircraft's in a good shape, we've got good weather conditions, and VMC departure is going to be a pushback to the right-hand side, taxi out. So straight out, Victor, and then Sierra 10 for runway 26 left. Our takeoff speeds today, 125, 126, 127, 2.1 EPR, and climbing initially flight level 70. GPS is selected up here. And you can see that's basically set everything automatically. Alright. Sit straight out for some 10 miles, then a left turn, climbing flight level 70. Auto flight can be used, and that's it. Any questions? No questions. Perfect. Then let's go ahead with the before start checklist, please. Flight attendant briefing, complete. Gear lever and lights, down and checked. Brakes. Parked. Start levers off, flight instruments checked, altimeters and clocks. So we have 1011 reading 570 feet, left and right. Brake pressures checked, radar and transponder, standby, exterior lights set, emergency exit lights. Armed, seatbelt on, no smoking. On. Alright, window heat. Looks like that stuff the engineer did not do. Let's just do the entire overhead then. Well, that one they wanted to remain off. That's gonna be turned on later, and the rest of it is looking good. Okay, so window heat on, compass, slave to magnetic, radios. Did he turn them on? Just a quick look here. Yes, he did. Okay. So, radios on and checked, departure briefing complete, logbook checked, and that's the core checklist complete. The engineer will have completed his own stuff, so I'm not gonna go over that. Alright, so what are we running on at the moment? Is it the APU? Yes. And the APU generator as well, it seems. Yeah, all on APU. Okay, excellent. Let's go ahead and prepare the position for pushback and departure. So, crew manager, before start procedure, please. So, beacon has been turned on for us. Excellent. Ground from flight deck. Go ahead. So please confirm doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed and the bypass pin is installed. Stand by. You still have some open doors. Roger. Looks like we can't actually close it. Okay, well, maybe just waiting for GSX here? What's it doing? No. I guess it's gonna be done automatically later on then. Well, we'll just take a seat and wait. Okay, so all of that good stuff here can go. What about the ground power? It's not in use. Then it can go as well. Okay. So the cargo door is closing. I can hear that. Okay then. Oh yeah, that door is closed. That was very audible. Alright, anything more in the checklist? Nope. That's all looking good. Alright. So, checklist is done. Let's go ahead. Ground flight deck. Go. So, clear to push, nose to the north, park brake set. Roger, release brakes. Brake released, off we go. Roger, you're clear to start engines in sequence. Starting 312 in sequence. Transponder coming on. Alright, that was a quick one. How far are we into the video? 14 minutes and we're pushing. You can see when you make use of all the automation, the 727 all of a sudden becomes a very easy to manage aircraft. Okay then, we're clear of the gate area, starting number 3. A little bit of a pity that we gotta take the phone out of the box all the time, but it can't just do that from right down there, but so be it. Alright, we've got N2, N1. We have oil pressure as well. Okay, number 3. Okay, start a cutout, starting number 1. Technically speaking, I believe you're supposed to wait with the number 1 until the pushback is completed, but it just takes so exceptionally long. Okay then, we have N2, we have oil pressure, and we have N1. 20%, fuel on. Okay, push is complete, set brakes. Brake set. %, starting number 2. N2. Oil pressure. N1. And the engine is coming up nicely. Starter cutout. Okay, after start procedure. So, engine anti-ice is not required off. Flaps 15. Alright, the ramp exit is here, hand signal is seen, flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, neutral. And the rudder? Full left, full right, neutral. By the way, I'm not 100% sure if that range of travel here is correct. Like, this is really little. At least on the 737, which I believe had the same nose wheel design as the 727. That range of travel of the paddles would have been quite a bit further. But okay. So, after start checklist. Start levers, idle detent, beacon light, on, engine anti-ice, off. And for the engineer, I assume the stuff is done. Quick look back there. Yeah, looking good. Alright, excellent. After start checklist complete. So, clear on the left side, clear on the right side. Brake is off. And just a little trick down here. Safe taxi. Who would have thought we'd ever have that on a 727? Alright, so straight out, first to the right, and then all the way to the end, to the holding point. In the meantime, let's go ahead and revise the departure briefing. It's going to be a left seat takeoff on 26 left, flaps 15, noise abatement procedure 2, takeoff speeds 125, 126, 127. We'll sit straight ahead for about 13 miles, and then a left turn out, climbing flight level 70, and we, well, have basically covered it with that. Alright, any questions? No? Good. There is one more thing I want to show you though. And that is down here. Auto throttle. Look at that. Yes, the 727 actually had an auto throttle available. Though it is not as complex as the auto throttle in a modern Boeing aircraft, but it is able to hold your speed once you have achieved it. So basically, you accelerate on manual thrust until you have achieved a certain speed that you want to fly, and then you turn on the auto throttle, and well, then the plane is going to maintain that speed automatically. I'm sure flight simmers do appreciate that option, so let's just include it over here. Okay, so ground speed down here, 15 knots. We'll accelerate all the way to 30. That may help to get a better idea of the feeling of the aircraft as well. So 23 right now, still accelerating a bit. Just so that you get to learn how to judge the view outside, since you don't have any ground speed readout right in front of you. Okay, 28 knots. Let's go thrust to idle. So this is roughly what 30 knots looks like in the aircraft. You gotta remember that so that you can actually go over it if you do happen to fly the aircraft without a GPS fitted. Alright then, taxi procedure. That's the APU that he's shutting down. That hissing sound you just heard. Alright then. Taxi checklist. Flaps and runway. Pretty hard to read. Okay, that's 15 green light, runway 26 left. Takeoff data, EPI and speed box. That's 2.1 set cross-checked, ProArt on, flight controls checked, seats checked, yaw damper checked, seats and shoulder harness checked, taxi checklist complete. Okay, clear on the left. Before takeoff procedure. Is there another dedicated checklist? Yes. Okay, let's do the lineup, then we do the checklist. So, here we are. Before takeoff checklist. Icing considerations, no icing. Cabin alert checked, ignition on, any skid on, strobe lights on, transponder is on. Before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, ready? Let's just synchronize that heading bug, I forgot that one earlier. Takeoff. Set power. Okay, takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Tracked. Rotate. Gear up. Okay, 1,000 above the ground, accelerate. Flaps 5. Speed check, flaps 5. Flaps 2. Speed check, flaps 2. And flaps up. Speed check, flaps up. Alright, let's configure for silent climb here, 1500 AGL with the 1.7 EPR. Set. Maintain roughly 210 until 3000 AGL. Slowly flying it back into the profile down here. Okay, 3000 AGL, accelerate 250. And we're approaching the profile over here. So, 250 knots. Set standard. And well, we can continue our climb. Cruising level 270. Set. Okay, autopilot on. Let's switch it to nav. Why is the nose coming down? Supposed to be climbing, my friend. Anyway, 250 knots again, so speed hold. Yes, no, maybe? Well, that was maybe a little bit late for the pitch up. But doesn't matter, let's go vertical speed hold. Wait for the speed to come back, and then we'll re-intercept the speed profile. Okay, that's roughly 250 knots. Speed hold. And reaching 10,000, accelerating. Oh, lovely. That's got to be the cabin altitude warning. Yep, it is. And look at that. The flight engineer forgot to set the pressurization controller into flight. Beautiful. Of course, he should not have forgotten about that. Well, it's in flight now, so the cabin altitude will come down again. And since that's under control, altitude horn cut out. Thank you. Alright, we are now far enough out from any noise that we can go full climb thrust again. You can see the first officer has already set that for us, 1.92 EPR, so all we gotta do is increase the thrust. And reaching 300 knots. Speed hold. Well, and off we go. So what are we looking at? Pitch maybe 7.5, something like that. I'll just put the flight director there. Doesn't really matter too much, as the autopilot is not using the flight director. They are two separate systems in the 727. So all I've got to do now is to adjust my climb thrust every now and then to match the target EPR up here. And apart from that, our crew is basically doing all the work for us. So the flight engineer is doing his stuff, the first officer is adjusting the speed bugs, and that's all stuff that you can do through the crew manager over here. So you can see in the automatic monitoring down here, I've got the fuel heat, the pack temperature. The only speed I didn't activate is the airspeed bug, because as pilot flying, that's basically what we want to say. Or to set rather. EPR limits, that's the FO adjusting these up here. Also looking good. I just gotta increase or decrease the thrust as needed in order to match it up. And the fuel balancing is also done by our flight engineer. So that's about as easy as it gets, really. If we do have a quick look here, You can see, for example, that the flight engineer has shut the cross-feed valves from the wing tanks so that every tank feeds its respective engine down here. The only thing the flight engineer forgot is the ground flight switch up here, so, well, that's hopefully a bug that they are gonna fix rather soon.
Crossing 17,500.
Checked. And that basically means he's gonna reset the barometric reference here. So, quick look back here. Reveals that the cabin altitude is going down again. Talk about going down, we can set our flight out correctly here. 270 is where we're going, and the landing altitude is 1,500. Apparently that stuff he cannot do. Well, sounds believable to me. Obviously, well, actually with the SimBrief import that we've done on the map, or rather on the clipboard, the flight engineer would have a way to know which altitude we're climbing to, so I don't know, maybe that's something they can add with a future version. Maybe that's something they can improve there. Okay, approaching an overflying Golart. Let's make it a small shortcut over here, direct to... What did we have here? Aberu? Yeah, looks good to me. So, direct to Aberu. Here we go. Keeps us about as close to the German border as possible over here, while remaining within the country. And then from here we are basically probably going to get a shortcut direct to Landu or something the likes. We'll see about that. Haven't decided yet. Alright, the target EPR is going even higher, but looks like my N1s are actually right at the maximum over here. Remember, you don't have FADEC in this aircraft. Let's just put it all the way to max here. Remember, you don't have FADEC in this plane, so you basically are responsible for not exceeding any engine limitations on your own here. The plane is not going to do that automatically for you. Okay, looks like even though we have the crew manager on, he does not do the lights and stuff at 10,000, but that's fine. And they do seem to keep the continuous ignition on. Okay. We actually read the after takeoff checklist. Ignition off, seatbelts and no smoking, check, landing lights off, logo lights off, gear lever off. After takeoff checklist complete. Yeah, all done. Okay, so not much further, just another 3,000 feet in the climb over here, and we will reach our cruising altitude of 27,000. For the Germans among you, I know that VATSIM sometimes goes crazy when you request level 250 as a cruising level, because they say it's the boundary between upper and lower airspace. That's true only in the northern half of Germany. In the southern half, you can get flight level 250 without a problem, because the border is between level 280 and 290. So that's just as a little background there. Even though in the real world I did already cruise at flight level 250 in Germany, but that's another story. Okay, so approaching 1000 to go. Let's go back to vertical speed up here. Set it down to 1000 feet a minute. And since we should now have power reserves, we can turn on the auto throttle. Even though for some reason that thing just keeps pulling the thrust levers back to idle before increasing it again when you engage it. That's a little bit strange behavior, something they need to fix with a future update. But it's regaining its speed now, and now it will just maintain 300 knots, which is where we engaged the auto throttle for the first time. So that's about as easy as the auto throttle becomes in the 727. You put it on, and then it just remains at that speed. Of course, provided it has enough thrust to actually maintain it. It can't go more than full throttle, of course. Okay, reaching flight level 270. Altitude capture. We'll wait until we've reached 270 exactly, then we can engage altitude hold on the flight director. You can see right now it still defaults to the pitch we're commanding here. Okay, almost at 270. And, well, here we are. Altitude hold on, and now the flight director is commanding that as well. So a small word here on how the GPS interaction with the aircraft works. Basically, the GPS now has replaced the guidance from the VOR. You can see that on our HSI down here, where our course is being directly driven from the GPS and the distance is as well. So for the airplane, this is exactly like if we are tracking a VOR, just that the GPS is faking the VOR data. And that's also the reason why down here we have selected nav or localizer mode in order to follow the GPS navigation. And why on the FMA you see VORLOG being the active mode instead of, for example, LNAV or something the likes. For the plane, it's like flying a VOR radial, but it's actually following the GPS course. Okay, so since we've now reached our cruising level, let's go ahead and start our VNAV calculations. So that's on the utilities, VNAV. Let's just go manual over here. So, come on, bring me to my flight plan. Here we go, and I want to plan Landu at... No offset. I want to plan Landu at 10,000 feet. I'll make that flight level 100, yeah. Enter. Save. And now let's see what VNAV calculates. Top of descent in 7 minutes. Easy, isn't it? Alright, we can use that time to grab ourselves some charts for our destination. So we can close those Leipzig charts, and let's go for Munich. That loading always takes a little while if you haven't used the program in a while. Not exactly sure as to why that happens. Okay, crew manager. Oh, there is an after takeoff checklist. Okay, I should probably have run that. Okay, but here come our charts as well. So, Landu 2.6 transition, let's find that. I must be blind, where is it? Oh, here it is. Landu 2.6. Yep, I was blind. Okay then, for the next one we are looking for Munich ILS approach runway 26 left. And then we can also go ahead and grab ourselves some taxi chart. Oh boy, I clicked too close to the center again. So, taxi chart. And last but not least, we also need some parking chart. I think that's going to be parking stance west. Yes, down here it is. Okay, so for the ILS, 108.3 is the frequency. Can set that active, minimum 1670. Let's dial that one in as well, 1670, and that equals 200 foot radio, which you can see in the brackets down here. So let's dial in 200 into the radio altimeter. And down here we need 1670 once again on our backup. Okay, we can't set the courses yet, so with that we're basically done. Well, and that's our setup. That's pretty much all we can do over here. Wow, that's quite laggy right now. Alright, well, that's it. That's what we could do. So, all that good stuff out of the way, I'd say we go ahead and start preparing the airplane once again for our arrival. So, landing field elevation 1470. Let's just go to the engineer's panel here for a second. 1470 is set. Okay. So then we've got the flight tab down here. Well, we're less than 20 minutes in the air, so nothing is locked yet. Alright, let's just calculate the landing data using what we have over here. I know that the wind and the temperature and stuff are out of place, but it's really not gonna matter too much. So we'll set those speeds here. Only thing I dislike about it is that it sets all three speed bugs to the same position. Because I would kind of prefer to have my minimum clean speed marked over here, which is going to be 200, and then a flap speed 180. Like that. Okay, and 128 VREF is over here then. Okay, looking good. So let's go ahead and take a little shortcut. We'll proceed direct to Landu. Here we are, activate, and then probably going to have to start the descent now. Nope, still a minute time. Well, that's about as good as it gets, isn't it? So, is there a descent checklist? Only combined with the approach checklist. So nothing to worry about.
Vertical track.
Checked. That's from the GTN telling us that we have 1 minute to the top of descent. We can see it down here as well. TOD in 1 minute. To be honest, it feels like I'm cheating a little bit, doesn't it? You've got that wonderful analog Boeing 727, but as you can see, we can pretty much do everything automatically if we want to. Alright then, we'll have to start our descent in a few moments here, down towards 10,000, and we'll go to Alt Select Armed. So, what's calculated here? 2,300 feet a minute. So let's go ahead and dial that in. Here we go, roughly 2,300 feet a minute. Auto throttle is maintaining the speed at 300 knots. Quick check, do we have a descent procedure in here? Nope, the next one is the approach procedure. Perfect. Okay, excellent. So with that, we're on the way down. Let's already put the signs on. We can select the auto brake to medium. And I think from our part as pilots, that's really all we need to do here. Note that the flight engineer has turned off one of the electric hydraulic pumps there, as you don't really need them in the air. It looks a bit strange that you've got something illuminated over there, but, well, it's a 727. It's not one of those ultra-modern dark cockpit philosophy aircraft. Even though it does, well, seem to follow the dark cockpit philosophy, like, partially. Like, for example, the rest of the lights are all not illuminated, but you've got a couple exceptions, like the window heat light up here, or the FMA that, well, has some red lights on it, which all by itself is strange. Or down here you've got the blue lights, marking the active side of the nav radios. So there is a bit of stuff in there that is a bit strange on the first look, but then again, it's 1960s technologies here. It took another decade or so until they really started to go to the next generation of aircraft. This is second generation now, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the third generation, which is those hybrid aircraft like the MD-80 or the A300-600 or the A310. Well, and then we've got the fourth generation, 737NG, for example, or 747-400. And then we have the fifth generation, A350, 787. And I'm really excited to see what's going to be after that. I have a feeling the sixth generation is probably what I'm going to fly when I'm going to retire. But who knows? Feels strange to see the 727 still. This is really... it's beautiful, but then again it's strange. So, quick check of the vertical down here. VS required 1900. 1,000 foot below the path. Well, let's go to 1900. Here we are, looking better. So, not all that much to do for us. 37 miles to run till London. And from there we are going to join the ILS approach. Probably straight in, we'll see. But I guess it's more or less going to become a straight-in approach. Flight director, turn off the alt hold, and yeah, just give me a pitch of -2, that's looking good. Quick look at the back over here to make sure that everything's working. Cabin altitude is coming down. Temperatures are looking good. Alright. I'm kind of tempted to try and open the door, just to see if it works when the airplane is pressurized. I really have a feeling I better shouldn't. Okay. Well, we'll take a seat again, we'll just continue the flight as normal. I really better shouldn't look into that back there, should I? Small simulator stutter there. Not 100% sure what causes all those stutters here. I didn't have them before with the 727 when I flew it the analog way. Maybe it's related to the GTN. Not 100% sure, to be honest. Not 100% sure. Alright, so the latest weather down in Munich tells us wind 300 at 6, cavalcade 27 degrees, QNH 1014. Let's go ahead and dial the QNH in as a little reminder on our standby gauge down here. 1014 is in. Okay, and then passing 15,000 already. Signs are all on. It's incredible how little there is to do for us. If you remember the first video where we flew the airplane completely manually, you can see that we were busy all the time on the entire flight. And now, making use of all those aids that Flight Sim Studios have provided for us, the plane really becomes easy to fly, just like a 737 or an A320. And I'm not talking a 737-200 here, just in case any of you is thinking of that right now. Even though I have to admit that a 737-200 to this level of detail would be kinda tempting. it would surely look good. The classic 737. Even though my favorite would probably be the 737-300 to 500, the classics. As they are already FMC driven and they can, you know, go all in automatic, while the 737-200 does require quite a lot of attention, just like the 727-200. But it is quite rewarding to use all of those automated features you've got. Then again, it still feels like I'm cheating a bit with that GPS down here. It definitely does. Alright, vertical speed required is reducing a bit, but I'm just going to take it down to 10,000. We'll level it off over there and then let it reduce the airspeed. Just something I wanted to try. Okay, it does actually follow the speed bug. I didn't know that. I thought it could only maintain the present speed. Interesting. Well, you learn something new every day. Checked. Okay then, let's go ahead and reduce to 50. Oh, that's auto thrust for you now. When it reduces the throttles all the way to idle, then you get that warning. Tell you what, disengage, give me, you know, just that bit more. So that we don't get the warning. And then we can descend 5,000, QNH 1014. So, set 1, set... Well, very hard to see on the other side. Twice now. Okay then, heading 210 should be roughly it. Heading select. I think we might have actually turned a bit too far to the left. Let's go back to 180. Okay, down to nav, and over here we can go ahead and activate vectors to final. Here we go. Okay, we've passed 250 knots. Pitch it down. Let's actually make it speed hold. That may just be easier. Interesting, now it did not set my course automatically. Previously in the fully analog 727 it did, and now we gotta do that stuff ourselves. Well, that's fair enough. 261 is set. A little bit above the profile it seems. Okay, here we go, and you can give me some speed brake as well. Gotta get it below the glide slope over here. Okay, so we'll fly a little bit closer to the center line. You can see we're currently 6 miles off the center line. At 3 miles we'll make a right-hand turn in order to intercept the ILS. Altitude select 5000 is armed. So let's go ahead and run the approach procedure. One more mile to go down here. Okay, lights are on.
1,000 to go.
Checked. So, speed brakes coming in. Let's make a right-hand turn, intercept heading. 230. Altitude hold has captured. Speed coming back. Let's not make it too slow yet. 220 should be fine. 20 miles out. Approach is armed. Well, that level off is a bit high, isn't it? And why did my altimeters just reset? It's 1014, my friend. Okay, localizer alive. Why does it not capture? Interesting. Does it not capture if I arm the approach mode? Certainly the mode showed armed. Okay, let's just go back to heading mode for a second here. Just to re-intercept the localizer. The glide slope is coming alive. Flaps 2. Okay, localizer is alive again. Let's use Warlock to intercept, and we have Warlock capture. But look at that! As soon as I go to approach mode, it just loses it. Is that because of altitude select, or why is it? Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, let's not dwell on it. If it doesn't work, we turn it off. Okay, flaps 5. Okay, runway inside up there. Localizer comes alive again. Okay, gear down. Flaps 15. Alright, let's do 160 to 4. Sometimes the pitch and power values of this airplane still catch me a bit, since you have to pitch it below the horizon. Like -2 degrees right now is really not exactly what I am used to. Normally on every airplane I fly, you can basically say never pitch it below the horizon. But this one apparently you need to. Okay, crew manager, landing. I think it will set the flaps for us as well to the landing position. Yeah, flaps are moving. No, there is no ballooning on this aircraft. Wait a moment. The French always say that. Man, I can barely pitch it down here. Look at that, 5 degrees nose down just to follow the glide slope. It's rather significant. I have no idea if it's accurate, but it is a significant pitch down. That much I can say. Alright, this looks better. So, since the flight engineer has already read his procedure, or the crew manager, I am not going to bother doing that stuff manually.
1,000.
Checked.
1,000.
So now the big question is, did any 727 ever actually land at the new Munich airport? Or did they all just fly into the old one? Good question, I really don't know. Gotta look that up after the live stream.
$500.
Checked.
400. 300. 200.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 50. 10.
Okay, I flared a bit high. I admit that. Kissed the ground, but much too high. Okay, speed brake up, thrust is normal. $70 knots. We'll catch the next exit. Manual brakes. Alright, here we are. Welcome to Munich. That was a quick flight. Probably one of the shortest managed ones that we've done recently. After landing checklist. And here we are, coming right out at the cargo apron. APU is starting up, as you can undoubtedly hear. Right, left and right are clear. Looks like it's up to us to turn the lights off. Transponder should remain on. Turning it to standby is somewhat outdated. I do suppose it fits the procedures of the airplane at the time it flew, but you know where I'm going with that. Okay, so that's 901. Then let's see if we can grab GSX over here. Gate. Oh yeah, that's a long way down. It's only the 800s over here. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll park it manually. That's probably the nicer way to do it. Okay, 902, here we go. Okay. So, let's just see. We are running on the APU. Nice. Well then. Let's see. Does it shut it down automatically? Don't think it does. Oh, here we go. Engine's going out. Apart from that, signs going off, and the beacon light. Well, the engine, you already switched it off. Okay. As well as the window heats and the probe heats. Excellent, very good. Then let's go ahead with the secure cockpit checklist. Brakes, park, engine wing anti-ice off, probe window heat off, beacon light off, secure cockpit checklist complete. And here we have it, guys. That's how you can fly the 727 in a modern style, using the GTN 750 and getting help from our flight crew here, our first officer setting the speed box for us, and our flight engineer handling all the systems for us. As you can see, even though you might have been somewhat impressed and thought you can never fly this airplane on the, let's say, manual flight that we did, where we handled all the systems ourselves on the previous video, you can see on this one, it is actually quite easy. So Flight Sim Studios have made the plane accessible for pretty much any one of us. Very easygoing. Not exactly my style of flying it, if I'm honest. I prefer to do things with the INS on board. But nonetheless, that's how the airplane can be flown for now. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know your feedback in the comments below. I'm very much looking forward to that. And as always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, why not consider a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Last but not least, I would like to finish off by saying thank you very much to Flight Sim Studios for providing my preview copy of the aircraft, and all of that out of the way. Thank you for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.